Or Patrick, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. I'm going to declare a quorum, call the meeting of the City of Groton Committee of the Whole for Monday, June 24th to order. Clerk Patrick, please call the roll.
Present are Mayor Keith Hedrick, Deputy Mayor Jamal Beckford, Councilors Lisa McCabe, Reginald Stanford, Guinevere Depot, Minerva Ortiz, Finance Director Ron Uhas, Clerk Deborah Patrick, excused is Councilor Rochelle Carter.
Okay. We're going to start with 392, review the City of Groton non-union handbooks, change the pension medical plan. Linda, if you could come up to the desk, we'll need to make sure we're speaking into the microphone.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
How you doing?
Good.
Some faces.
I think,
How are you?
does
How are you?
does everyone know Linda? Linda, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
My name's Linda. Linda Avedisian, I'm the Director of HR. Nice to see all of you. Okay, so the two changes that we're proposing to the handbooks, one has got to do with the health plan that we have. Right now, our primary health plan is the PPO plan, and we are looking to switch that to have the primary plan as the high deductible health plan effective next July 2020, July 1. The city does contribute to the cost of the deductible. That's not going to change, that's going to continue. It's a lot less expensive than the PPO plan. And at this point, we are not going to, what are we doing with the PPO? Do we know
So
yet?
for the,
No, I don't think we've come to a final decision.
Okay.
on
right,
that.
so for the current employees, the high deductible will go into effect
Next
July.
Mhm.
But for new hires, it'll go into the high deductible,
Correct.
right now, okay?
Gwen?
I was just going to ask, how much is this saving us on an annual basis to change the plan? Or how much do we expect it to? Because obviously you can't predict, but.
I can get those numbers for you. I'd have to run them for the non-union group. I didn't run them for the group as a whole.
But that's the reason that we're doing it, right?
Correct. What it does is it brings you, it's a global change across all industries. You're seeing that switch from that traditional PPO plan over to the high deductible plan, which it brings more ownership into the individual's health insurance piece of it. But there is a savings, potential savings. I don't want to say that there is a savings. We are self-insured, so all claims do come through our pool. We're not a premium based, so if somebody doesn't have any claims, then it doesn't affect us either way. But I can run the projected savings based on the non-union group as it is now with the individual employee plus one and family groups, and kind of give you a quick overview. It's not a hard exercise. We've been doing it for the
We're also doing this with the unions. We have 8 unions. 2 of the unions, police and fire, are already in the high deductible. So the other 6 unions, we are moving to the high deductible. So we're in various stages of negotiation with them. Councilor Depot.
Is this something that we have to vote on, or it's just bringing to our attention?
You will, we had a resolution last time, right, to accept. So it'll be a resolution to accept the changes in the handbook.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to second that. I mean, this is something that I know my own company did probably about 5 years ago, and I see this happening across industries. So I think this is, it's just kind of the new status quo.
And the town of Groton has started to do this as well. So, and we're not doing it for them, we're doing it because it's the right thing to do for the city. Okay, I know you want to go to the next.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the medical part?
No.
Okay, go ahead with the retirement.
Sure. The other initiative that will be effective July 1, 2019, and this is only for new hires after July 1st this year. We are going to sort of discontinue with our pension plan that's currently in place, and we are going to institute a cash balance plan. And again, that's only for new employees. It's sort of a combo of pension and 401k type plan. I don't know if any of you know what a cash balance plan is. It's a little bit different than the 401ks or the 401, which the cities have.
The 457.
457s, yeah. Again, we're doing that so that in the long term, a few years down the road, there will be significant savings to stopping the pension plan. And this one really, instead of depending on the city to provide the benefit, it is the person's own, it's the money that they put in as well as the money that the city puts in, any earnings that they may make on it, and at the end they can either get a lump sum amount back or they can buy an annuity to give them monthly payments. And that will happen also. We're having the policy, not the policy, but the plan description, the plan document is being written up now by our attorney.
And this is a longer-term investment. We will not see immediate payback on this, but 10 to 15 years, we should start seeing payback. And the big payback is later when we have employees that start to retire. Once they retire, they'll take their payment with them, and then they'll walk away. There'll be no additional requirements from the city.
Okay.
So that's where our long-term benefits are.
So folks that are already hired, that came in with a pension, they get to keep their pension.
Correct.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yes.
So we're not, the defined benefit plans that currently exist that employees have negotiated in the past, I'm not messing with those. All we're doing is for new hires, new employees, we're going to go to the cash balance plan. And we're doing that for across the board in the city. Like I said, currently we're in negotiations, various stages of negotiation, but that's where we're going. Deputy Mayor.
Right, so when I look at this and it says employee contribution plus employer contribution, is that going to be like a company match, or
Yeah, I was
is
going to ask that.
Yeah.
it going to be like a fixed number regardless of if they put anything in? Or?
Correct. It's going to be a fixed number.
Okay.
So right now, we're looking at say the contribution from the employee side, probably around 6%, and the city putting in about 4%, so it's not a match.
Okay,
It's a definite amount that both sides have to put in.
gotcha.
And then that final piece, the interest, this money actually goes into our pension trust fund and is invested as part of the pension. So the employees won't have to pick and choose and worrying about trying to figure out which investments are going to be. So it'll be part of a portion of the big defined benefit plan where all that money's invested as a whole.
Any questions on the retirement plan? Any questions on this agenda item? Okay, I need a motion to move this to, bear with me a moment, Mayor and Council meeting of 1 July.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Linda. Okay, we will go to, Deb, I'm out of order already. We're going to go to 757, which is the Beach and Park Committee. And Mary, if you could. All right, 757, the very, all right, the first one is the Name the Park contest.
So I'm not sure if you're all familiar with the property that the city owns down on Thames Street between the PAF and the old bootlegger restaurant, Garbo's. We've owned this property for a number of years, and we finally actually got it to make it usable space, but we continue to call it the name of the family we purchased it from as the lower cost of property. So we decided in May, late April, early May, to do a contest to get the citizens involved to name the property. the contest rules were that they would submit the stuff to our department, and then I would bring it to the Beach and Parks to narrow it down to the top 3. There were 36 entries, and I believe you got the top 3 that came from the Beach and Parks Committee from their last meeting earlier this month. So it's your decisions to finalize which one we pick.
So, and what I'm gonna do is we're gonna reveal those 3 names for the first time tonight, but I'm not gonna ask you to make a decision tonight, and I'm not gonna ask you to move it tonight, because you may get feedback from people, and I wanna give you an opportunity to process it. So the 3 final names one was the Sunset Terrace, so that people can enjoy the beautiful sunsets that we get to enjoy. The second is Groton Bank Park, and the third one is Thames View Park. So those are the 3 final names that will come to the council that we will discuss and select at a later date. I'm not sure yet. I haven't determined yet how we're going to do that, but we will do that. Okay. Any questions for Mary on this? Okay. The next one, the Memorial Bench.
So our process via resolution for memorial benches is that a letter is sent from a family member to have a bench constructed and or revamped with the plaque down at the beach or Grizzle Point. So we had 2 requests at our last meeting. The first one is for Lucille Kelly. It lists why her family wants her. She wants her memorial bench there. She was actually part of the Beach and Parks Committee years ago. So the resolution says the recommendation needs to come to you guys for final approval for Lucille's bench.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to do one
Any
at a time?
questions on this? All right, I need a motion to move this to the mayor and council meeting of July 1st.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Okay, Mary, go to the next
And
one.
then we had another one, the Club 55 at the Groton Senior Center raised money on their own to purchase a new bench. They have raised the roughly $345 it costs to construct the bench, and they also would like a plaque donated by Club 55 at the Groton Senior Center, of the Groton Senior Center. I'm going to work with them on that language, because, and that's the unknown price. They won't know what that is until I actually send that to the place we get the plaques made. Our plaques go anywhere from $110 to $140, depending on the number of letters. So they've put a request in to have a bench, and we've never done one for. We've never done a bench that hasn't been for somebody who's departed already, but this is something I think the senior center felt strongly about, so the committee, Beach and Parks Committee, thought so too, and I'm bringing it forward to you today.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a few questions. So I remember the discussion about the vandalism, and I know there was some talks about whether any of those could be salvaged, the benches. Were we able to salvage any of them?
4
4.
of the 10.
Gotcha.
And those 4 have been refurbished, and we do have 4 of the 6 memorial benches presently returned to the beach. And we're doing our due diligence on inclement weather days to continue to make and replace the ones that we've lost.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Do we want to talk about,
We've notified the families whose benches have been returned to the beach this
Okay.
afternoon, so if you'd like to, you may.
okay, then allow me to take this opportunity to address to the council and to the members of the public at large. On Saturday at 10 o'clock at the beach, we are going to have a commemoration ceremony. Basically, it's a way for closure, where we're going to invite family members, but other members of the community at large, because this was a big emotional impact when these benches were damaged. So we're going to have a little ceremony. Basically, I'm not 100% sure what it's going to look like yet, but it's just basically a healing process to get closure for the benches. And I think the council knows, but also to let everybody know, we do have cameras up at the beach. So if this occurs in the future, we should be able to apprehend people quickly. So you want to, okay, so any other discussion on this bench? This motion? Okay, hearing none? Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Councilor Depot?
I do have a question. So, obviously, it's very nice of them to donate. And my question is, how many spots do we reasonably have left for memorial benches at the beach?
About 12.
Okay, so we have a lot left.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
27 benches at the beach, of which 15 currently are memorial benches. So that's 12, right? Math man. And we also have locations like at Griswold Point at the backside of the 17th hole
We do.
of the Shanakasa golf course. We have a grassy area there that we have 2 memorial benches there. And now with the Costa our new park, we might have other locations for benches to go. I know the beach has got a lot of sentimental value to a lot of citizens, so we'll put them out until we run out of space.
Sure. Anything else on this motion? Okay. I need a motion to move it to the mayor and council meeting of 7/1.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries.
Thank you.
Mary. Okay, we're going to go to 7:34, which is Economic Development Commission presentation. Welcome to the city project. Sierra, if you could come up. There's some handouts that are coming around. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Does everyone know Sierra? Okay, Sierra, please introduce yourself because we do have some new council members and they may not know you.
Okay, so my name is Sierra Patrick, and I am the city's Economic and Development Specialist. For people who want a background, I am born and raised in New London, left here, went and got my undergrad at Hampton University in business and marketing and entrepreneurship, then went to Georgetown and got my master's in urban and regional planning with a focus in economic development, and then ventured my way back here just for some background.
We are so happy that you're ours then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. So tonight I'm here before you because I'm seeking the council to authorize a contract with BL companies for services related to Welcome to the City, which is a placemaking initiative of the city's Economic Development Commission. So Welcome to the City is a strategic placemaking initiative to promote economic development through enhancements to a sense of place, community character, as well as our pedestrian, bike, and vehicle circulation. The initiative will focus on improved gateways, enhanced streetscapes, and improved wayfinding. The ultimate goal is to really assist in the retention and attraction of our businesses, workers, visitors, and the sorts. So the city's Economic Development Commission is currently addressing tasks identified in 2 public documents. So the first one is the 2019 Plan of Conservation and Development. It tasks the EDC to use placemaking strategies as a way to project memorable images of the city, enhance sense of place in the city by improving gateway areas and associated roadways, extend the gateway concept into a consistent, coordinated wayfinding program that guides people to activity centers and key destinations in the city, enhanced streetscapes so that the journey through the city to various destinations is a pleasurable one, as well as promote activities and events that attract people to the city of Groton so they can experience it for themselves. The second document is the 2014 report of the Community and Economic Development Steering Committee. Under Focus 2 for physical infrastructure, they tasked the EDC to improve access, function, safety of an area for pedestrians and automotive, to establish uniform signage and public wayfinding programs, including standardized signs for parking, cultural and historic sites, parks, and water access, and to improve the visual appeal of public spaces. Welcome to the City initiative will really serve as a foundational plan to really get some of those tasks off the ground. So, the objective of Welcome to the City is to narrow the placemaking focus into the traveler's experience upon arrival and navigation throughout the city. As the city's on-call consultant, BL, was contacted to develop concept plans as well as propose some construction costs for us to actually do the improvements at the gateway. So if you refer to this handout that I gave you guys, on the first page you will see this is a map from the 2019 Plan of Conservation and Development. It's the Community Forum Plan. So BL is actually going to be focusing on these highlighted blue areas, these blue circles. So those are the major gateways. And notated on the second page, it'll give us an aerial view of both study areas. So just to kind of coordinate so we can see where we're at. So for the mayor's circle, mentally act as if you're traveling maybe from New London to Groton and you're getting off of exit 85 and going towards Washington Park. So the focus areas for this study, well, the intersections would be the North End Bridge Street, which is that first intersection, especially paying attention obviously to the mayor's circle. Then as you go up North Street, it would also connect the North and Spicer Ave. Further up, it will also connect North and Broad Street. I wanted to notate that we already identified initially that any improvements that we make to the North and Bridge Street is going to have an impact on North and Broad Street. So that's why we included such a big span along the North Street corridor. For the Clarence v. Sharp, the study area is primarily just going to focus on the intersection of Meridian and then Route 349. So the BL concept plans are really supposed to identify any roadway, routes, crosswalk reconfigurations. It's also supposed to look at landscaping, wayfinding signage locations, and also, more importantly, our any road diet alternatives for the intersections. This initiative would also coordinate with the Thames River Reconnection Consultants, who are currently providing recommendations to enhance the Gold Star Bridge pedestrian bike path that actually connects to Bridge Street, as well as working with the Connecticut Department of Transportation and the Southeastern Council of Governments as they do the implementations of the SUS-based joint land use study. The cost for BL services will total $14,000, and that will consist of site visits.
Oh, you're good.
I'm sorry. Site visits, the conceptual plan, and the final plan. Oh, sorry. So I guess in closing, I'm requesting the council to authorize the contract of the BL. For BL services, I'm related to the Welcome to the City conceptual designs to actually enhance our economic development. Do you guys have any questions?
I do.
Deputy Mayor Becker.
Well, first, thank you for coming and explaining all of this to us. You mentioned road diet.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
So it actually looks at like the travel lanes and maybe the width of the lanes to see if there are any alternatives. I know as we're trying to maybe incorporate bike lanes on some of these roads, that's something that will also help determine what we can do in certain areas.
Okay. And one more thing, just to follow up on that. When we say multimodal route reconfiguration, you mean bikes and pedestrians
And then the automobiles.
Sure.
Yeah.
Unicycles.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
I was just gonna ask,
Councilor Depot?
sorry,
No, you're good.
where is this money going to come from?
Currently, I have enough money in my budget to cover the expenses for the contract.
Question. Are we gonna have any sidewalks?
Yes, that's part of it as well. I know on North Street, if you're talking about, there's a segment where the sidewalk basically stops, but those will be included as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, would this incorporate signs as well in regards to showing what the city offer or anything like that, or how to get to places like, say, when you get off the highway, there's a sign that says towards submarine base or going to Washington Park? Would that be included in regards to this?
So our wayfinding signage, the locations will be identified in this plan. And as far as the signage details, that would be another project that we get into a little bit more detail later on. But as far as for like events, they will analyze if there's somewhere where we kind of want to put like it would be a sign, but it's like for temporary signs for if like we want to do news or highlight certain events. So they will analyze where that could be placed, but then that also kind of brings into question of whether or not we want it to be an electronic sign and how that light may impact, but that's something that will be reviewed under that.
Councilor Depot.
I was gonna say, to piggyback off that, I think the idea of this is to figure out if we need new ones, where they would go and all of that. So that is like included in this, is to think of what would make it easier to get through the city,
Yes.
where those signs need to be placed, right? That's like part of the idea of it.
Have you worked with this company before?
Personally,
I mean, I just wondered, did we look at other companies as well?
oh,
or-
this is the city's, their on-call consultant
Oh,
service, so
okay.
they're very familiar with the city, yes.
Okay. And their deliverable is a report that outlines their best course of action for all of these things listed, the
Yeah, so
signage and the-
they're gonna send, the final product will be a series of plans, conceptual plans that would detail everything, as well as a written report that further explains their recommendations of some of the approaches that they took to create the concept plans.
And then we would use that to find funding, maybe go for grants.
Grants, oh, that's what I was
Yeah.
wondering. Did they recommend any grants or any of that kind of stuff that they could go for?
I don't know if they personally will recommend grants, but the Planning and Economic Department is actively working to identify funding opportunities for the initiative in the future.
Any other questions, comments? I need a motion to move this to Mayor and Council meeting at 7:01.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Okay, let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sierra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to 742, Groton Utilities. We have several things. You want to talk to the Jacqueline? Which one you want me to?
You can get that one.
All right. So the first one, which is on the Jacqueline B. Nixon, we need somebody, we need a council representative to be on this ceremony, this committee. The time commitment is about an hour when the committee meets, and what they do is they review the packages for the people that have been nominated for the Jacqueline B. Nixon Award. And this is the award that is given out during City of Groton Day on the first Friday in August. So is anybody?
Yeah.
Yes, what do you-
I was just gonna say, I wouldn't put Mandy on
Okay, then we'll put you on.
it unless someone else really wants.
Do I, Clerk Pat, do I need a resolution or just I have
I think we can just go with.
That's what I think
Councilor
too.
Depot is saying that she would like to sit on that.
Okay, and you're on it.
Thanks.
And we will go to the next. We have several resolutions under this. The first one is corporate mailing service. You may go ahead.
I got it.
All right, go ahead.
We're good. So what we're doing this year is a couple of these reoccurring services that provide a monthly invoice that really comes in underneath the threshold of the budgeted amounts. We're issuing a PO at the beginning of the year for the full amount of what we anticipate the cost to be throughout the year. And you'll see that they're pretty significant numbers. So we'll start with corporate mailing. That was a service that started, I believe we started using them around 2014, 2015. It came about when the lease for the mailing postage machine it was down in the basement for GU had expired. In the past, they would print the bills here. Somebody would go down to the basement, they would run them through, they would fold the bills, stuff them in the envelopes, and then put the postage on them, and then somebody would bring them out for mail. So Tina did some research when that machine expired and came up with corporate mailing, who the town of Groton uses, I believe MPU uses, and what they do is they actually come here every day and pick the mail up and bring it back to their Hartford, I believe it's in Hartford office, and they do take care of all the mailing. So the bills are still printed here, they pick them up, they bring them back, they stuff them, they mail, and then they mail them out, and we get a discounted mailing rate. It's on a corporate rate. So overall, it was cheaper than having the machine downstairs. So that service for the 1920 budget is roughly $110,000 is what the PO is going to be issued for. So they take care of all the mailing, and they do that. So not only for the bills, all the AP invoices that go out get processed here, they pick those up, and they do all the mailing for us. So that this service is really citywide.
Any questions or comments on that? Councilor Depot.
Is this how do they charge us for this? Is it a contract fee, like no matter how much mail we send out?
No, it's based on
It's based on the
yeah.
amount. Do we do paperless billing at all for utilities?
I don't believe so. I believe every bill gets mailed. I don't know the answer to that.
Not yet. We're still working on that with Paymentus, and I think we had a presentation during the in the previous past recent past about going to the automatic bill pay, and we're still working on the.
That's actually in the next one.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because I'll be able to answer that one as well.
Yep.
That question as well.
Not a problem. Anything else on this one?
Yeah, just a quick question. So since the machine has expired, what are we doing now in regards to?
So that machine has been turned back. It's gone. It's no longer downstairs. They had issues with the humidity down there and the clogging up and just the service agreement. So pretty much corporate mailing takes care of all the mailing, and there's no more machine down in the basement.
Okay. So we're using their services now.
Yeah.
And so this is just
Yep,
something to
it's-
bring to the council.
Yeah, it's like I said, I believe we switched over to them roughly 2014, 2015, that time frame.
So this is just like upping the yearly contract kind of thing?
Yeah, and again, in the past, I think this is the first time that you're seeing this, because normally this is a monthly bill, which would be less than that. So the objective was to issue a PO at the beginning of the year with what the anticipated cost was. That way, it encumbers that money, sets it aside, and just goes forward.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just going to add, I know that we're going to talk about the billing in the next one, but I'm just wondering if in the future, if we were to, once we have the online auto pay set up, maybe make a push for paperless billing, because I know when I have auto pay, I don't need to get the bill in the mail.
Okay.
I won't.
I will
So
bring
that would
that.
probably save us a good chunk of money.
I'll bring that back to Tina and see what if there's ways that we can do that. If there's emails or the one thing to remember is there may be information on a bill that may not be able to be emailed. So it may be a portal that we need to, it's just something that we need to
Right,
think
right.
about.
So
It's
they can
not
log
as easy
in
as
and-
just sending an
right.
email.
So one of the initiatives that's on my list is to get to paperless and get to paperless billing and to get to point of sale so that, one, no cash changes hands, or at least if it does, it's minimal amounts, and minimal number of times. And also to get it so that people don't have to necessarily walk up here to write a check to pay the bill. Any other questions on that? Okay, I need a motion to move that to the mayor and council meeting of 7/1.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Okay, the next one?
The next one's Paymentus, and that is the credit card service that is currently used. They are the preferred vendor of the North Star system, which is our billing system. So that's how we became affiliated with Paymentus. It's truly a transaction-based amount, just like most credit cards. So the more people that I'm charging, the more the fee. So this is truly kind of a guesstimate of where it's been in the past. And in the 18-19 to date, it's about 134,000. The budget for the 19-20 year and the PO would be issued for 165,000. What Tina did was she included an additional $1,500 a month for the auto pay, and that is currently in progress and in the works. And I believe Tina plans to come to the July 22nd COW to give the update as to where we are in that and in the process. And some of you may hear from her even before then. So it's in progress, it's working. We had a couple of things that we needed to do internally to figure out what direction we were gonna go. But
I'd just like to say I am personally looking forward to this. Right now, I call on the phone and I programmed it in. I've got to put a bunch of commas in for spaces, but it recently changed in the past 6 months, so I had to go through it manually. So this would be awesome.
I agree. We are going to get there. Anyone else? Okay, I need a motion to move this council meeting to 7/1.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Springbrook?
Springbrook is the accounting system that is used by the finance office, by the utilities. It's the work order system, purchase orders, payrolls done through there. So it's pretty much our full accounting system. This is just our yearly renewal for the license, and the 56,253 is that amount. So that's just a standard. I think they switched in 2006 or 7 in that time frame from whatever system they had prior to that. So this is the current system. So it's just the annual renewal. And Bonzer uses this as well.
Right. Questions or comments on this? Hearing none, I need a motion for mayor and council meeting of 7/1.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Next is Thames Street traffic light fixtures.
All right, I'm going to do my best on this one.
Thank you.
So this here is to do the lights on Thames Street at Broad, Thames Street at School, and Thames Street at Smith Street. The electric division put out quotes. They sent them to Marlin Controls, Halberg Electric, New York Concorp Traffic Systems, Inc., and New England Traffic Solutions, and I believe these were in your packets. And they broke it down by each location. You'll see that a couple of vendors did not bid for different reasons, and then there was 3 that did submit the quotes. Holberg Electric was the lowest quote on all 3 of those traffic lights. So even though they're separated on the sheet, they put it through as one resolution. The 3 of them added up. So this will be for those 3 traffic signals.
And, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, are the ones that we're replacing, are they LED traffic fixtures already, or will they Is this like an upgrade?
I believe it's an upgrade. I believe those are all old. I think it's been on the list for some time.
Yeah, these are LEDs are upgrades.
Okay.
Councilor Debo?
It looks like with these, are we installing cameras?
Well, I think these are the cameras as much as these are the detectors. These are the sensors that the fire departments use and the police departments use to turn the light to green.
Okay.
Is that, I think that's what these are. Let me double,
I believe so. I'm not.
I think that's what I was told.
So,
I am not, the cameras at my entrances and exits are, that's gonna be an upcoming thing that I'm gonna be doing. These are meant to,
Oh, what they are is they're the cameras. In the past, they used to have the loops in the road to trigger when the light up to switch. These are, I believe now switched to a camera type, so the camera will pick up the car that comes to the red light, which then will trigger it instead of the loops in the road,
okay,
based on the second whereas. I believe that's what they have in Clarence B now as well.
but the Opticon detector thing, I think that's the thing I was thinking about, which with the flashing lights from the police and fire, it changes it to green in the direction that safety vehicle is going. All right, any other questions or comments on this,
Yeah.
Councilor?
so if you're at, like say, Broad and Thames, there's like a transformer box. So that's being worked on too, or is just a light, street light within itself? Like,
Well, it says fully actuated 8-phase controller, so I would,
that would be like the brunt of the
well,
cost?
I'm not sure if it has anything to do with those panels or not.
yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think, I don't know.
Because I
If
know
there's any
like,
upgrading that needs to be done, though, it's gonna all be
Sounds like they would.
upgraded and up to date, I do know that.
right, 'cause, like in some places you see when the officers are actually at the control box,
Yep.
which controls the light. So I was wondering if this was that. I'm not sure. You know.
I can find out about that. I'm not 100% sure if the new lights will trigger a change with that system or not, or if
Okay.
it just ties into that.
We can let you know at the council meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anything else on this motion? Okay, need a motion to move this to the mayor and council meeting at 7:01.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. And then lastly, the safety consulting services.
This, AZ Corp has been the city's safety consultant for 3 years, and I believe this is the 4th year. The renewal, they did a significant bid package a few years back, and I believe it was a 1-year contract with 4-year renewals, options to renewal. And so the option was to renew the contract in the amount of $133,584. The current year PO is $136,40, so it's a 2.25% increase over the prior year.
And this is for Jim Healy. He is the individual that is primarily our safety consultant. One of the things that was discussed during the utility commission meeting and is discussed every year pretty much is the discussion of hiring a consultant versus having your own safety department. And there'll be a full business case analysis done when it comes time to renew this not renew the contract, but to rebid the contract. But one of the nice things about having AZ is that Jim brings with him his certifications, but if there's something he comes across that he doesn't have a certification, there's a reach back into AZ that he can bring somebody in that has that certification. Whereas if we maintain that on staff, we'd have to have several different staff members with all those qualifications. So right now, I'm convinced that there's a cost savings on doing this, but when we go out, one of the commitments that came out of the utility commission meeting was when we go to rebid this package, the whole package, we will do a full business case analysis about having the appropriate staff on board versus outsourcing. Does that
No,
make
makes
sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this motion?
You said a number 136 something or another? Was I off? Or
133?
I see 133. I just
And then the
thought you-
prior year was 130,640.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Just so you kind of had a comparison.
2.5% increase.
Yep.
Okay, we need a motion to move this to the mayor and council meeting at 7:1.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Okay, let's go to 1, 2, 5, 6. Let's go to 561, which is Groton Utility Financials.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
561, I'm sorry. 561, which is the Groton Utilities Financials.
So we'll start with electric, and I'll kind of keep it very brief, kind of like what we did last month. There's really nothing that's going to jump out, but if there are questions, again, I'll try to answer them now. Ron's on vacation, so from the operational side, we won't have that. But if whatever does come out, as I can get the, again, answers that I may not know off the top. So if we turn to page 3 of the electric division, we'll just kind of go year to date. And we'll start with line 19, which is a total electric revenue. You see that the actual is 725,000 greater than budgeted for the year, 1.7 over budget. Go down to line 25, which is the total revenue. Again, you'll see that the budgeted amount is just about 50 million. Currently, we're just under 52 million, and collections are 1.6 over budget, the 3.1. From the operating expense side, you see that the actual is 47,453,863 versus the budget of 45,900. So we're actually over budget currently of 1.565 year to date, or 3.4% over budget. The biggest piece of that is the purchase power, which is line 28, is the 1.422. It was a piece of that was missed during budgeting, but also you'll see that the power, when more power is sold, the power costs are going to go up. So it's kind of they offset. But that is the biggest piece of that overage in the expenditure side.
Councilor Depot.
So you said it was partly because we missed something during budgeting. Is that something that we're able to prevent for the future?
Yes. Yep, that was identified during this year's budget process and has been corrected. So then if we go down to line 43, the operating earnings, you see are right on track budget versus the actual. So the overage in the revenue offset the overage in the expenditure side. So the net income from operations, line 52, is 75,000 to the good, or 1.7% over the budget amount. So the electric division really year to date, with the couple of little flaws, the overages, it truly is on target as a total.
Okay, questions on electric? Okay, we'll move to water.
So water will go to the same thing, which will be page 8. On line 21, total revenue, you see that we're falling just under budget of 105,000, the 9.5 versus the budget 9.6. The biggest piece of that is the commercial is just coming short of the usage that was budgeted. You see it's 138,000, or 8.4% under budget. So that's the biggest kind of the shortfall when you look at the budget versus the actual, as far as in the groupings themselves. We go down to the total operating expenses, line 30. The actual is just over 8 million versus the budgeted 9.4. So it's under budget of 1.3 million or 13.7%. You see the biggest shortfall there is the operation and maintenance. There's some things that are seasonal, where they're doing the hydrant flushings and those types of things now. There is some open positions and the capital work being done with the plant and some other things. So that's the reason for that coming in under budget from the operations piece. We go down to line 44, the net earnings before the drinking water state revolving fund grant. The actual is 1.3 million, where we actually budgeted a negative 706,000 just because of the excess that was in the water. So you can see that the swing is actually a $2 million swing as far as being over the budget amount, or 285%.
Councilor Depot.
So for the annual amount for operation and maintenance, we expect that to level out because we're doing a bunch of projects right now with the water flushing and all of that.
I don't think it'll level out. I think it's still
It's
going to
gonna
come
stay
in.
under?
I think it's going to still remain under. But there are things that are seasonal that may make that gap a little bit smaller. But I still anticipate that it's going to be significantly under budget.
Yes, because this is this is for the month of May.
Correct.
So all we have is
Just 1 month.
one more month, one is June, yeah. So. Okay, anything else on water? Okay, sewer?
And sewer, if we go to page 13. And line 19, the total revenue, you can see that just under 4 million in actual revenues versus the budgeted 4.5, or 574,000 under budget, made up of two different groups. One, the industrial, which is the same story we've been talking with the deduct meters and not being accounted for. And then you can also see in the commercial, which this will follow the water side, water being down, so is the sewer down for the places that don't have the deduct meter. So those are the two biggest negative revenues, coming short of 262,000 and 422,000. From the operating expenses on line 26, you see that it's 335,000 under budget, the 2.7 million budgeted versus the actual of 2.3 million. So again, coming in under, same as the water division, you'll see that the biggest makeup of that is from the operation and maintenance, coming in $324,000 underneath the budgeted. The bottom line on line 37, the net income from operations, we budgeted 1.5 million in operations net income, and currently we're at just under 1.3 million, or 240,000 under budgeted. Again, the main reason being the shortfall in the budgeted revenue. So that's still tracking pretty much the same as it has been.
So for those of you that may not know, 1 July of last year, we pulled the sewer, the operating budgets of the sewer out of the tax base, put it into an enterprise account. This is the first year's budget. It will be this month here, June is the last month, so this is May. We'll report out in July on June's numbers. From the beginning, we had a shortfall in revenue because there were deduct meters that were either not identified or not taken into account in the initial proposal of the budget. This year, we have 1 year of pretty much of running numbers, actual numbers. So we've built the budget, the one that you guys approved last week, right? Last week, with actual numbers. So therefore, our budget reviews going forward on sewer should be closer. So there should not be a large disparity that we have. Other thing to remind you guys of, we are now getting into the Jason months, June, July, August, September. These are the hot months, high water usage. Water goes up, sewer goes up, And so if we get feedback, we'll probably get it in the next couple months. So just be prepared for that. Anything else, Ron, you want to
I have
tell us?
just one question. How are we identifying residential homes or commercial properties that don't have this meter, the updated meter? What is it called, DDOT?
The deduct meter, so it's based off of the water usage, so it's based off their water meter,
Right.
is what their sewer is based off of. There's a couple of large industrial that uses water for their air conditioning
Air conditioning,
units
cooling tower.
that
yep.
doesn't actually end up going down the sewer, so they have a separate meter that to track that usage that doesn't go into the sewer, and that's the deduct meter that we're talking about.
Okay.
Now, there are some residents that have come in and they say, I want to water my gardens and water my lawn. And one of the options we gave them was you can put a separate meter so that water that is going into your ground doesn't count. And it counts, you still have to pay for it as water, but you don't have to pay for it with sewer.
Okay.
But, you know, we looked at all different ways to do this, and there's still some people out there that think we should have went with a flat fee. The flat fee works well if you have a project. If you have a single project, let's say something's $10 million and you have 1,000 users, then you can figure out what the additional fee is going to be. You do a flat fee. But for us, because the capital improvements had not been taken care of, we're far enough behind that we're going to need the fees that we have now based on a cost of service study, and we're going to need some additional bonding and things like that in order to improve our capital projects.
Okay.
So that's where we are. Anything else? Any questions on sewer? Okay, we'll move to 690, which is the city budget presentations. For those of you that are new, we do this once a month. It's something that we started this way. It gives you, as a council, an overview of where the spending is and gives you an idea of where we are associated with the budget. Just it's a very high level view, right?
So this, again, is through year-to-date through the end of May. When you look through the different departments, everybody is pretty much on track with their budget amounts for the year. The first one that jumps out is the boards and commissions. And there's, actually, as putting this report together, there was a miscoding, so this will be corrected. Next month, this is for our actuary fees for the pension and the OPEB. So this bill did get paid, it just got misposted, so will be corrected next month. The other one that jumps out, which we're in the talks, the mayor's aware of, is the planning and zoning. That budget is at the end of May, 6% remaining. So we're going to look at that and assess where that is. I believe that's based on some zoning applications that came in and some contractual stuff that wasn't anticipated.
Right.
So that's one that jumps out. Other than that, everybody's pretty much, I think, on track from the conversations that have been had so far through the end of the month. Nobody's alerted that they feel that they're in complete trouble. So through May, everybody was good, like I said, with that one kind of sticking out. But we know about it. We think we know the reasons behind it. But we'll be researching that more.
Got one question. What falls under civil preparedness?
Civil preparedness, that's a grant that's received. The biggest piece in that is the emergency management stipend that the chief gets, Chief Spellman, for being the emergency management director.
Any other questions on city budget presentations? Okay, we'll move on to referrals. This is under number 1, the appointments. The first one is the referral for Robert Oswald of France to be reappointed as a regular member of the Harbor Management Commission, the term to expire 5 April 2024. Any discussion on this? You need a motion to move it to mayor and council meeting of 7/1.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Okay, this is next one is a reappointing Andre Bumgarner as a regular member to the Planning and Zoning Commission, term to expire 30 June 2022. Any questions? Go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question, not specifically related to this one. I know that there aren't always tons of candidates for all these boards and commissions.
True.
I would be interested to see when we get these reappointment notices, now that we're on top of them, because I know that we had issues with them not coming to us on time, if we could get attendance records for them?
Attendance records? Or what, well, hold on, I want to make sure I'm understanding, because I may have made up my own question.
Mhm.
Do you want attendance records of who's going, or do you want to know what my vacancies are?
Both.
Okay? Vacancies, we have sent a list of vacancies to the chairs of the Republican and the Democratic Party. I think we also have these posted on our website, but I'll make sure that they're posted. Okay, so you want attendance records. I don't know if we currently track that, so that may take us some time.
Do they not have minutes?
They do, but you
Well-
have to remember these people are also volunteers.
Well, no, okay, right, got it. But hold on, attendance records, and you want vacancies.
Oh, that can easily be looked up on the website also.
Well, so if you're looking at attendance records like 50% or 40% or 80%, then that will take a little bit of time to put together.
Can I clarify my?
Sure, please.
I think it comes off more antagonistic than I mean. But before these, now that we are on top of the reappointments,
Sure.
I think it would be, I don't know how these come about. Are they just automatic? Once this term expires, we are automatically getting the resolution that, to reappoint? Or is this person saying, I would like to stay on for another term? That's my interest,
Okay.
to see if they're only attending, say we get one and they're only attending 50% of the meetings. I think it would be good for us to go to them and say, looks like you're only attending 50% of the meetings. Do you still want to be on this board?
Yeah, we do
Because,
that.
okay,
We-
that's really my question.
We do that. Staff lets me know if we have any members that their hearts may not be into it, because it is volunteer. But before I bring this to you, we reach out to the individual and say, do you
Okay.
still want to be on this board or commission? Do you still want to be as a full member, or would you like to be reassigned as an alternate member? Because if you're a full member, you're expected to be there for voting. If you're an alternate member, if you show up or you don't show up, it's not that big a deal unless they need you for a quorum. Does that
Yes.
kind of answer your question?
Yes, that was more my intent, is I didn't know the process.
Okay.
If this was coming to us automatically, and that person is just like being dragged along on a board or commission that they might not be interested in. Okay.
Now we ask them. Any other questions? Now, which one was this? This is number 2 for Andre. Okay, I need a motion to move that to to the 7/1 mayor and council meeting.
So moved.
Okay, you have motions.
I think they're all
Second.
set. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention. And then the last one is planning and zoning for Jerry Keeler as a regular member as planning and zoning, term to expire 30 June 2022.
Also move.
Okay,
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries.
Thank you to anybody who sits on the commission, because I know that sometimes we do have a hard time getting people. Thank you for volunteering your time.
Well, and that is a big deal, and I don't know that the public at large recognizes how much we depend on volunteers. And all the council members up here, they're volunteers. I am paid, but the council members are volunteers. Boards and commissions are all volunteers. And it takes a lot of people to move things, especially with planning and zoning, zoning board of appeals, historic district. Every board, every commission that we have is important. And it does absolutely run on volunteers. So I agree with you. Thanks goes out to all the volunteers. And if you're looking for a way to give back to the city, volunteering on a board or commission usually only takes one day a month, and it is a great way to give back. So, thank you. The last thing is 736, the Mother Bailey House RFP. This is informing. Just to let you know, the RFP submittal period is over. We received two submittals by the end time of the date, and we will be reviewing those this week and determining what's up. Basically, determining we're going to review them. We're going to look at them, and then I'll keep you guys posted as what comes out of that. So that's the update that I wanted to provide on that. There's nothing else we're going on, right? Okay, make sure, I think I got them all except 756, we're not going to go over because she's not here, and I'm not prepared to, you weren't going to present them, right? Okay. I'm not prepared to discuss them, so we will not address them. I need a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 1-206 Alpha to discuss personnel. And the people that I'll need are the counselors, Chief Tompkins, Nicholas Dimko, and Joseph Sarabee.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We're in executive session. Nope, we're going to go to C8. There will not be a motion coming out of this.